everybody, it's Summer Snowman. Today I'm going to be making an apple pie. I've got ingredients over here. That's not all of them. There's still like eggs and milk and stuff and butter. And then I've got most of my utensils over here. All the ingredients and stuff will be in the description. So let's just get into the steps. So the first step is sift flours and salt into a large mixing bowl. So we take the plain flour and measure out 2 cups or 250 grams, and then when we've got that right, we sift that into the bowl. Here I'm just using a mesh metal strainer to sift the flour into the bowl. You just gotta lightly tap the edges of the strainer to sift the flour into the bowl. When you get down to the last few little clumps, you can use a spoon to push them through. So now we've got to do the same thing with the self-raising flour that we did with the plain flour, except we need to measure out only half a cup, which is 60 grams. And sift that through same as before. Now we get a pinch of salt and add that in. You can sift that through as well. Next we need to get 185 grams of butter. On the package there's lines that should help you estimate how much butter you need to cut. But you should still measure out how much butter you have, so pop that on the scale and measure out 185 grams of butter. Once the butter's been measured out, the next thing to do is to cut it up into small pieces and then put it into the bowl with the flour. So once you've got the butter in the flour, you need to cover the butter in flour and then rub the butter into the flour using your fingertips. You're supposed to do this until the mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. Like that, that's what it's supposed to look like. Next we need to measure out 1/3 of a cup or 70 grams of caster sugar. Then we pour it in with the rest of the mixture and then mix it all together. Then we combine an egg and 1 tablespoon of ice water and beat them together, and then that gets poured in with the rest of the mixture and stirred up. Once it's all clumped together, you make it into a ball, and then you split the ball into 2 smaller balls of dough. One of them is supposed to be bigger than the other because one is for the lid and one is for the bowl of the pastry of the pie. Once you've got your 2 balls of dough, you got to wrap them up in cling wrap. That's the first one. And there's the second one. And then it's got to chill in the fridge for 30 minutes. So while those are chilling in the fridge, we got to put the frying pan over a medium heat and then put the 45 grams of unsalted butter in, let that melt. While you're waiting for that, you got to peel your apples and chop them up into little pieces. When the butter's melted, you can pour in half a cup of caster sugar and then mix that in together. Then you can finish up chopping up your apples. Once your apples are all chopped up, you can go ahead and add them into the frying pan. Then you sprinkle on top 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon and then a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. And you leave that to cook for 10 minutes. You can stir occasionally to get the spices all mixed through. When the 10 minutes is up, set that aside to cool down and don't forget to turn off the stove. Now you gotta preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius and prepare the pie dish. I do this by coating the inside of the pie dish with like margarine or butter and then covering that with flour. This will stop the pastry from sticking to the dish. Now I'm covering the bench in flour so I can roll out my bigger pastry ball. You can put a bit of flour on the rolling pin and on top of the pastry ball to stop them from sticking together so you can roll it out. Don't worry if you mess it up, you can just ball it up and try again. You can use the pie dish as a measurement to make sure you've rolled it out big enough. When you're ready, you can roll it onto your rolling pin using flour to make sure it doesn't stick together, and then you can roll it back out over the pie dish. Lightly push it into the corners, and if there's any bits that don't quite cover the edges, you can fill in the gaps with some of the excess from off the side. When you're ready, you can pour all the apples and the juice from the frying pan into the pie and then flatten it out. Now we can get out our smaller pastry ball and roll that out to make the lid. When you're ready, you can roll it onto the rolling pin, same as before. but before we put it onto the pie, we have something else to do. We beat together an egg and a tablespoon of milk and then brush that around the rim of the pie before we put the top on. This is supposed to help it stick together. Now we cut the excess off from around the edge. Next, you crimp the edges of the pastry together. You can either use your fingers or a fork. Put the pie in the fridge for 30 minutes. Then after 30 minutes you take it out. Mine looks funny in the middle because I got ahead of myself and cut the X in the middle too early, so I covered it over with extra pastry. Anyway, so the next thing you need to do is brush the top of the pie with the beaten egg mix and then sprinkle caster sugar over the top. Now this is the part where you're supposed to put the cross in the center. Then we put the pie in the oven on 180 degrees for 45 minutes. When you're ready to take the pie out, you open the door and leave it for a second, and then take the pie out, or you might get a blast of hot air in your face. Ta-da! Finished my pie. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, you can like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel for more videos. You can also add me on Twitter and Twitch. I don't do baking stuff on Twitch, I do gaming. But you can still check it out if you want. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!